One of the most fun parts about being a collector is the search, and so there are a lot of places to go: flea markets, antique malls, estate sales, garage sales, Goodwill. All right, I like this guy. It's an original painting of a peasant man. It's a fun way to shop because you're not really looking for anything in particular. So it's not like going to the mall and saying, I need to get a pair of black pants, which to me is not fun at all. Okay, so this is very cool. I like the pattern on it. I like that it's rusty. So when I go antiquing or thrifting, it's really just with an open mind to look for something different or something unusual. About 5 years ago, I decided to start sharing my collections, my home on Instagram, and so I created an Instagram called Notaminimalist, and it was kind of fun to connect with other collectors and vintage enthusiasts and maximalist designers and things like that. And have been lucky to grow a pretty large following there. At my core, I am definitely a maximalist because I have a natural inclination to gather things and to collect things. And oftentimes I look for things to collect that are prevalent and inexpensive, and usually those are things that everyone else is ignoring. And so you can build a collection of things that no one else is paying attention to. I've got several pretty large pottery collections. Most of them I started about 20 years ago. I also collect things very different from that. I collect tramp art. I collect mid-century caricatures that were made at carnivals and street fairs and things like that. So it's a wide array of things. I'm a maximalist, which is the phrase that has become popular, or the term that's become popular to kind of describe this aesthetic. Sometimes you hear cluttercore. I'm a lawyer by day, which is a very analytical job. So this is definitely a creative outlet for me. So over the years, I've kind of decided that this is maybe my canvas and that it's my way of expressing myself. One of the most common questions I get is, how do you display all of these things without it looking cluttered? I think when you have a lot of collections, one of the tricks is to keep everything together. Try to keep all the collections grouped together, and then it reads sort of as a single installation. It does take trial and error. I don't put things up and immediately love the way they look. I'm constantly editing, I'm constantly putting things up, taking things down, putting something else in a certain place. One of my favorite things, and probably one of my best finds, and it might be a once-in-a-lifetime find, is a collection of vintage portraits that are hanging in my dining room that were all painted by a gentleman named Claire Seglum. He painted most of these portraits in the 1980s at an art studio here in Oklahoma City. I think he was in his 90s when he passed away a few years ago, and his family had an estate sale and sold a bunch of his art. And I scooped up about 50 portraits and hung them all together. And his signature is the elongated noses that he gave most of the subjects. And probably my favorite one is this guy with the glasses, because it just screams 1980s, and I think it's a lot of fun. So my friends and I constantly joke that someday, we're all going to have amazing estate sales, and that somebody, when we're gone, somebody will enjoy, like us, will enjoy going through and buying the things that we collected. Sometimes there's a feeling of sadness to go through someone's house at an estate sale, and you can see the things that they collected, or the things that they used, the things that they loved, and that are being sold. But there's also an element of happiness, in the sense that someone else is taking those things on and enjoying them at their houses. Well, yeah, sometimes people will say, look at what I do, and say, why? And for me, it's why not? It's It's kind of my form of self-expression. It's really what I do to have fun. It gives me a sense of sort of peace and a sense of, you know, all the feelings that you get when you're doing something fun.